From Las Vegas, Nevada, we welcome you to the podcast Real Estate Talk with JC Castillo. JC Castillo and guest.
Good morning, Las Vegas. My name is JC Castillo, and we are here starting again your show, Real Estate Talk with JC Castillo and his guest. Today, we are sitting here at the Equity Title Studio on your podcast daily, trying to go ahead and bring you guys great information, make sure that I tap into the great real estate professionals that exist out there. And today, I'm very excited because I have a really great guest here in our studio. We are going to go ahead and give our introduction to Miss Yvonne. Yvonne, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
Awesome.
It's a beautiful day.
Yes, it is a beautiful day, Yvonne. Yvonne, if you could please give me your first name, last name, what you do, and what company you work for, please.
Yvonne Rodriguez. I'm a realtor for about 8 years now, and I'm with Berkshire Hathaway. I do have my own group, Rodriguez Realty Group within Berkshire Hathaway.
Oh.
And yes, I am growing my group. So if anybody out there is looking to join, they need a mentor, and you're new and you need some help with your transactions and all that, you're more than welcome to contact me so you can join my group. Right now, it's just me and one more person. So
very cool. You know, I didn't know that you had your group.
Yes.
That is so awesome because, you know, being a solo agent is one thing, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're really just working for yourself. You're making sure that everything is being done correctly and everything. But now having people on your team, you're sharing your experience and molding people to be real estate professionals. That is so cool for you. How long have you had this real estate agent working with you as a group?
3 years now.
Oh.
And I love teaching. I love supporting others. I remember when I first started real estate, It was so scary. I got my license. I went into the office and I was like, okay, what now? I didn't know anything about documents, how it goes. How do I do a search on MLS? I didn't know much. Of course, there is a lot of support here and you have a lot of classes as a new realtor or even as us realtors that have been doing it for a while. But it's always kind of nice to have someone there for you that you can call. And again, you have your broker manager here. That is amazing. David is amazing.
Right.
But just to have one-on-one and just someone to take you through all the documents. Anyway, I love doing it. If anybody out there is looking to join a group and needs mentoring, I'll be more than happy to help. I have my own office here in the Southwest, which is right by IKEA within Berkshire Hathaway. And, you know, you can come use the office anytime you want, and it's really fun. So
very cool. So if there's somebody out there that says, you know what, I would love to go ahead and give real estate a try, you know, there is licensing involved and everything. We'll talk a little bit about that. And obviously we're not, you know, from the division, just to make sure we're not from the division. So the information that we're going to give you is very simple information. But if somebody wants to go ahead and really, you know, follow through and say, you know what, I am interested. How can they get a hold of you?
Oh, just call me. My number is so easy. You can memorize it, 702-885-4400.
Nice.
Yes. And again, just call me, text me, 702-885-4400. Anybody out there that's a new realtor and any other, you know, places that they're already working and they need mentoring, just let me know.
Yeah, that's really important because you guys have a great mentorship program. And also, you know, I mean, I'm sitting always in the sales meetings with you guys every Tuesday morning, and just the training that the brokers put out, the office managers put out, and everything, it's just phenomenal. So as a new agent, you definitely need that. But also as an experienced agent, you have to be reminded all the time that the market is shifting all the time. I mean, you mentioned you've been in the industry for 8 years. What is the biggest difference from 8 years ago that you see as a real estate professional that was happening 8 years ago that is happening now? Is there a big difference?
Absolutely. Okay. I mean, this market and this business is always changing. 1 year you're so busy, you have multiple offers on your listing. Another year you're sitting with your listings for months. And I feel like you just have to constantly put your energy on your business and reinvent yourself. It's just unbelievable how this business is never the same. So like right now, for example, when everybody knows that the market is kind of slow and people are out there still buying, still selling, but only if they really have to. There are some people that they have to sell because they have to relocate, they have to move, family dynamic is changing, or some people do have to buy because again they're moving, new jobs, different scenarios. But absolutely, as a realtor, it's always different, and people just get so used to, oh, listings are coming, buyers are coming, but it's not always like that. And you always have to put your energy on it. You have to be in it. You have to go to the office. You have to do the social media. It's almost like if you don't put your energy on it, nothing is going to happen. So that's just what I think that's important.
Right. And you brought up something that I really love. Two things. You said you have to come to the office. I know that for a while, because of COVID, a lot of people stayed home, and we had to stay home. There was no and ifs or buts, but you had to stay home. And people got used to working from home. It is very hard to be very disciplined to have a career and stay at home, because you get sidetracked by the dog and you have to do laundry, and then you got to start cleaning up and everything. But the importance to come to the office and be surrounded by other professionals that are in the same industry, having the same scenarios, because like you said, right? I mean, some months are great and then some months are the inventory is just sitting there. But collaborating with your co-partners in your office, it's phenomenal, because you have conversations with other agents that might be going through the same scenario. How important is for your team members to understand, or anybody out there that sees, oh, I want to do real estate because it looks easy. It really is a work in progress. You have to put in a lot of effort and a lot of work to make sure that you stay successful, right?
Absolutely. And I tell you, every time I come to the office, I learn something new. When you think you know it all, you never know it all with this business, and every transaction is different. But just being around other people, colleagues, depending on whatever level they are, some people have been doing real estate for over 20 years, or they just started. You always learn something. And not only that, but I feel like I get motivated.
Yes.
And I feel good about myself sometimes. If somebody, for example, they're just starting a TikTok account, and I'm like, oh, I already have almost 2,000 followers. For me, like, I feel good, and I'm there to kind of help and just, because I'm a natural born teacher, and I love to help people. It's just the whole energy, synergy when you come in the office is just amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
And you mentioned something that it's the synergy, right? It's you're bouncing ideas off each other, you're supporting each other. You and I had a little meeting last week, and then the idea to come to the podcast came. But like you said, we were helping this agent on getting into her social media. She's had other social medias, but we were trying to get her to do TikTok. And your social media is so impactful. Like you said, you have over 2,000 followers, and we want to grow that. Let's talk about how you started your social media, why you started your social media, and how can people follow you in your social media. So how did you get started in social media? Was it 8 years ago, 4 years ago, 1 year ago? How long ago did you start your social media for real estate?
Well, thank you so much for bringing this up. Actually, so I'm a kind of person that I wake up in the morning and I think of another business idea and another business idea. And I realize I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm a realtor, but I also have a jewelry line, online store, and I'm also part of a foundation. I will talk a little bit more about it. All these things. I also have a master's degree in nutrition that I want to utilize and help people. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to confuse my clients. So they're going to be like, are you a realtor or what are you?
Right.
So I decided to really brand myself, because I believe like in any business you do, people need to get to know you. They need to like you and trust you. Then they'll do business with you. So I realized there's nothing wrong with that. This is who I am. I'm Vegas by Yvonne. That's how you find me on all the social media. And I try to brand myself and at the same time show people, because that's how social media is. They'll see you from all over the world, all over the country. And I'm trying to show people a little bit of what's going on in the city. I know I get excited when I look at Europe, Italy, France, because I don't live there. We're here, we take it for granted. We don't realize that people from other countries, other cities, even in the United States, they think Vegas is the Strip and that's it. So I really like to go around and, have social life, and also show on my social media what's going on in town with some amazing restaurants that we have here, and places and things to do. And we have Chocolate Factory, for example, that I'm planning on going there. We have, it's endless of the things we can do here. So I decided to brand myself, like I said, Vegas by Yvonne, and that's who I am. My most important thing that I do every day when I wake up is real estate.
Nice.
And all that pertains to that. And then I started social media. Of course, Facebook has been going on for a while, but you have to choose a couple of platforms. You can't just do it all. So I decided, of course, TikTok, Instagram. Instagram is connected to Facebook, so I'm just concentrating on that. And Vegas by Yvonne is my brand. I'm a realtor. I'm a lifestyle, realtor, and also just showing people what's going on in this town and what else I do.
Right. Besides real estate.
That defines who I am, besides real estate.
And I think that's phenomenal because, again, a lot of people, we all have our careers, but also people want to know what you are like, what your personality is outside of real estate. And I think in your social media, you truly do show your personality because you said, right, not only you have a jewelry brand that you do, and, you have that aspect of it. The main focus for you is real estate, obviously, helping people buy and sell their properties. You've been doing it for 8 years successfully. Now you're building your own team under your own brand, which is great. You're teaching your team, or you're going to teach your teammates on how to utilize social media to the fullest extent, because, just real estate post, if that's what you want to call them, it gets boring after a while. But when people start seeing that, you're a dog lover, you have a lot of other interests that you do, people really start connecting with you. And I think that is phenomenal. So it's really important for people to understand that not only you have your social media, but also you have a YouTube channel as well that you're posting constantly information, and it's all educational, right? And you want to make sure that you stick with the educational part, because in real estate, we're always learning, even ourselves. We've been in the industry for a long time. Like you said, every Tuesday morning, we learn something. We talk to somebody new and they say, oh my God, have you ever thought of this? How important is for people to really start understanding that the education part of the real estate factor is what's really going to make or break the deal. Everybody hears the interest rate is high. Everybody's here, the sales prices are, coming down and the market is crashing. But the education part is, reality is what it is, right? How important is for people to really understand the education part of what your social media branding has been doing for the last couple of years?
I think it's very important. I look around and see what other realtors are doing, and I get inspired. Everybody's different, and I love to see how everybody's branding themselves, and they have their own styles. And I like to give people tips. Just the other day, I was talking about depreciation of your rental property, and I got a few phone calls, and people were like, "Oh my God, I didn't know I had this rental property for so many years, and I said, who does your accounting? Because I'm not an accountant." It's like, "Oh, my husband does that." I said, "Oh, well, I think you should definitely, talk to an accountant." And this is, I just give tips to people because they like learning something. You have to give people value. I think it's very important. Of course, you're going to advertise your listing and yourself and the lifestyle in Vegas, but I love doing tips and just teaching people. Again, like, I come to the office to learn new things, and I see the same way. People looking at social media, they want to see some important information, some tips, what's going on. I love buyers very much. I love sellers, of course, but buyers is what I love to do the most, because it's almost like someone, you take them from the beginning to the end of the transaction, and just to teach everything, and they learn from you, and it's such a good feeling, But going back to social media, I love doing tips and for people to short tips, short videos where people learn something.
Right.
And that to me is very important, very important.
No, that's phenomenal. And again, right, you mentioned that you really love the fact of, helping a buyer, right? And
yes.
I think you're, like you said, you were a natural teacher to be born with. And I think that transition of taking somebody that, oh my God, I don't know if I could buy, and then a couple of months later, you're actually handing them the keys. I think that part of, the growth is what really satisfied you. I mean, yes, the commission is great. Let's be honest. I mean, we all work for money, but the internal satisfaction of actually helping people find their forever home or maybe their starter home is really the satisfaction that you get out of the real estate transaction, isn't it?
It's absolutely. It feels so good. And then when people tell me, I love you, Yvonne, you're amazing. You actually explain the whole process, because just put yourself in the shoes of a person that never bought a home, or even they bought a home, but they maybe didn't have a great experience. They didn't learn much from it. This is your biggest purchase in your life. It's the most important purchase of your life, because it's not just money-wise high amount, but you live there. It's your lifestyle. It becomes you. And it's important to understand the process. It's very important. And when you go to the doctor and the doctor starts talking to you in these medical terms and you get lost, it's the same thing with real estate. People, if they understand the process, then it's just, they'll love you because they feel they are in control with their money. And you don't want any surprises in the end when you're about to close escrow. And it's just, I would love to talk a little bit about that, just to take, if there are any new buyers or buyers out there that are watching this, just to give a few tips for them to understand how I work and how they could look for if they, when they're buying a property. So we can talk about that, but I think it's very important to teach people and let them be in control of the transactions.
Definitely. I always say this, Yvonne, and I feel very true and passionate about it. I don't consider you guys real estate agents or real estate professionals, right? I consider you guys as real estate advisors. You guys advise people on, hey, if we go this path, this could happen. It's your decision. If we go down this path, this could happen. It's your decision. You're really advising people and giving them the best of your professional knowledge for them to make the best decision. So you said that you love helping buyers, right? And you said that you have tips that you go ahead and want to share with our audience. And, for right now, we're going to talk about the buyers, right? So what are the, 3 to 5 great tips that you have come up with in the last 8 years in your career on how to satisfy or how to make that buyer really feel comfortable, because they're stepping into a world that they've never done. Like you said, their purchase power is the largest purchase power in their life. They're buying $500,000 home, right? You're helping them spend $500,000 in a home, right? So what are the, first 3 to 5 tips that you have that you're very passionate about so people can understand, the type of agent that you are?
Well, of course, the most important thing is to understand your buying power. I always tell my buyers, are you qualified? Are you pre-qualified? And it's a difference there too. People want to go out with a realtor. They want to get you to know you. They want to know if they want to work with you. And I take them out. I meet them. We discuss what they want, discuss what they need. Even if they're not pre-qualified yet, I go out and I let them get to know me, because maybe they don't want to know if they want to work with me or not.
Right.
So we get together, we discuss price range. What are you looking for? And right there, the first tip I give them is, okay, you want to buy a house for $500,000. The mortgage, oh yeah, because I know the mortgage is going to be about, I'm just giving an example, $2,500. And then I'm like, okay, and that's what I can afford. That's what I want my payment to be, $2,500. So the first thing I explain to them is, but do you realize that there are taxes, there is insurance, and there is HOA possibly, most probably here in Las Vegas, because they're a master plans community.
Correct.
There'll be HOA. That's going to be another $300 more a payment. Are you aware of that?
Right.
And most of the time, people don't think of that. It's unbelievable. They don't think of that.
Right.
And $300 more a month, that's a lot of money for a monthly payment for some families.
Definitely, because you're jumping from a $2,500 mortgage payment to a $2,800 mortgage payment. It is what we call payment shock, right? But Yvonne, I'm a first-time buyer, right? Let's role play. I'm a first-time buyer. I come in and I've been paying rent for $2,500 for the last 7 years. all I do is pay the rent. Right? I could care less if the air conditioning breaks or anything because the landlord's going to fix that. You have your buyers and you make them understand that, hey, it's going to change because now those responsibilities are yours, right? That's the type of conversations you're having and educating your buyers and letting them, you're stepping into a total different world now. Not only is the payment, but there's other responsibilities as well, right?
Absolutely. When you're a home buyer, it's beautiful. You can paint your wall pink if you want. Nobody's going to tell you what to do.
Right.
You can do whatever. You get to do your own backyard the way you want it. You have that sense of ownership and pride, which is amazing. But of course, it comes with cost. And you have to think about that water. Well, depending where you're renting, you're still paying your water, electricity, and all that. But absolutely. So HOAs, your extra costs, your taxes, your insurance, even the warranty for your and let's not confuse warranty with property insurance. Warranty is for your appliances, for air conditioning. That's an extra coverage insurance that you need to have or not. But property insurance or PMI, that's another one. PMI is a loan insurance. So there are different costs that I would like to tell my buyer, I want you to be aware of this, and I want you to make sure you can afford it.
Right.
If we can move on to the pre-qualifications, that's very important also. You need to find your buying power.
Right.
What is it that, because people don't realize, oh, I just bought a truck a month ago. Well, right now we cannot buy a house. Maybe you can. I'm not a lender.
Right.
We're going to need to get you with a lender. Do you have your own lender? Do you need recommendations? I work with about 3 different lenders that I always let people do their own research, and things like that. But we need to know your buying power. You need to know money is very important. We cannot fall in love with the home, because then you'll be so disappointed, and then you're going to end up now feeling bad about yourself or not buying a home. So these things to me are very important. Money, number one, so from there, if we got the buying power, we understand extra costs every month. Yes, the cost of being an owner, it's extra, of course, and all that. That's very important to me.
Right.
I always have that conversation.
Right. But that's not a deterrent for your buyers, right? You're telling them the reality of buying real estate. Right.
I tell them the reality, and also, let's say you're a first-time buyer, like you were saying, it's consider a stepping stone. It doesn't have to be your dream home the first time. That's a stepping stone. Let's not go over budget and put a stress on the family, on a life, on your lifestyle.
Right.
It's your stepping stone. You're doing your first house. Let her get some equity. Learn how to be a home buyer. Understand all the costs. See how you like it, and you can always sell it in a few years and get your next property that could be your
forever home.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think again I think that's phenomenal, because you're taking the time to educating them from the beginning, right? Not like we used to do it back in the caveman area, where people were like, I want to buy. You throw them in the car, you go show them all kinds of homes, you get them in love with a home, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I don't qualify, right? Now the process has changed, and you're educating them from the beginning. You're saying, first of all, let's find your buying power, right? Within that buying power, what is the most important to you as a homeowner, right? Are you looking for a 3-bedroom? Are you looking for a 17-bedroom, right? You really want to get to the nitty gritty of why is it that they're buying, because we all have wants and we all have needs. I want a brand new car, but I need a car. It's 2 different mentalities. How is that conversation so important for your buyers to understand that your wants and needs really have to be put down in paper, and they have to be realistic of what the market is providing them? We were just looking, and we heard last week that there's over 6,500 homes right now listed on the MLS. That's a lot of that's a very healthy inventory, right? But it's going to depend on the price range. Obviously the lower price range are going to be very specific on the amount of homes are there for sale. How is important for people to really understand that my wants and needs need to be more like, this is what I need, and I will like that, I will want that, but the reality is I need a roof over my head. It's either close to my schools, the schools to my kids, or close to work, or near my relative. How important is to have that conversation for you to understand what really why are they looking to buy a house?
Well, I think it's very important, and I tell this to new realtors as well. You're asking your client, what are you looking for? And you write down what you need. 3-bedroom, 2 baths, extra bath. I need a balcony. I need a pool. I need a big backyard. I need to be in Summerlin. I need to be in Henderson. I need to be close to this school. Sometimes, I can tell you from my experience, my first client walked in an open house. My first open house, she walks in and she's like, I need a $2 million home. I'm moving here from Seattle. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to handle this? It was so scary.
Yes.
And I need to have mountain view.
Okay.
So you take that like, okay, I'm going to search anything 2 million and a little lower, maybe a little higher, just around 2 million, mountain view. And of course, she had a lot of other specifications. And I didn't ask her, mountain view, like, why?
Right. Yes.
Why mountain view? I was just looking mountain view, and I couldn't find anything. And then I talked to her, I showed her many homes, we discussed, and I realized that it's not really the mountain view she wanted, but she wanted kind of like an open space in the backyard. So for her, the mountain view was not a wall. She wanted just to see the space in the back. She wanted to see the sky.
Yeah.
She wanted to see something. So I was like, wow, that is so important to communicate what do you need and what do you want. Some people want a pool. And I'm like, okay, but do you realize how much the pool costs every month, how the water evaporates, and how the pumps break, and how the filters need to change? Why don't you consider a community that has already a pool? Why don't you consider how close are you to a gym that has a pool? And then the whole family can go there and exercise and have fun and all that. But yes, it's very important to really communicate that with your buyer and really understand why they want it and what exactly do they mean by I want a mountain view or I want a pool.
Right.
What is it that they're looking for? What do they have in their mind?
Yep.
Because if you just write it down and then you just try to look for it and you really don't understand your client, where they're coming from, it's gonna take, it's very simple. The client is gonna feel like, okay, I'm not seeing what I want, and then they get disappointed, and then you feel like you're not doing your job right.
Right.
So it's very, very, you're right. It's very important to really address their needs, their wants. First, like a stepping stone, maybe we can wait for that big pool in the backyard for your next home. Things like that. Very important to communicate.
Right. And let's be honest, Yvonne, all of this comes with your experience. You've been doing this for 8 years. You said your very first transaction was this, and you were like mountain view, and then you realize it's an open area that they're looking for and everything. Our terminology, right, our vocabulary in real estate definitely is very specific. Right? People want, owner occupied, non-owner occupied. We want with an HOA, non-HOA. A lot of buyers don't even know what an HOA is. Let's discuss a little bit about how you educate your buyers. And another tip, I believe, is, when they say, you know what, I want a community pool. Well, you're buying in a homeowners association. How important is for them to understand that the homeowners association, they're going to have rules and regulations, and they're going to have things that they're going to have to be looking out for. I mean, I'm sure you've had a lot of buyers that buy in a homeowner association, and then a month later, like, oh my God, I just got a letter saying they're going to charge me $50 because the weed grew out. I can't believe this. But there is a reason why they're being like that. Can you talk to them about, or can you explain and educate our audience about the homeowner association, why the rules, and why it's important for people to understand? If you're buying in an HOA, this is what's happening. And if you're buying out of an HOA, this is the scenario that's happening. Can you explain that to them, please?
Yeah, absolutely. HOA, there is a love-hate relationship for everyone with HOA, I think. Yes. I hear a lot, I don't want any HOA. I don't want HOA. And I'm like, okay, why? Why don't you? I want to do whatever I want to do. And I explain, okay, but do you realize that your neighbor can do whatever they want to do? So yes, HOA, they come around, they give you fines or they give you letters. But it's important that the whole community stays to a certain level, because that's your equity. You acquire equity in your home. And if your next door neighbor does whatever, again, they paint their house pink, but on the outside this time, then maybe the value of your property will go down. HOA is important for that. You don't like it, but sometimes it's amazing. And also, HOA takes care of the grounds. They keep it pretty. They keep it clean. They keep it in a certain level for your property value, so the property value doesn't go down.
Correct.
It continues to go up. Or so yes. And you have to understand also, if you buy right now what's happening, I would like to talk about this condominiums.
Yes.
HOAs are skyrocketing. You go from 200 to 350. And why is this? I want to tell people they're not in real estate, whoever's listening to this, they need to understand why. Well, water went up in price. So condominiums, they include the water in HOA. HOA pays for the water. Also, insurance, because of the fires that happened in California, insurance prices went up. And they pay insurance. Everything is insured on the outside, the roof. God forbid there is a fire or anything happens. That's insurance. That insurance went up. So of course HOA went up, and that's why right now is a problem, because I do have a couple of listings with condominiums, and HOAs went up, and is a little bit like, oh my God, why is HOA $400? I can't. People are scared to do that.
Right.
But again, you don't pay that water bill. You don't pay that high insurance. You still have to have extra insurance for the inside of your property, but you are covered for the insurance. So yeah, it's HOA here. Las Vegas is master plan. It's probably, what would you say, 85% HOA?
I would agree with you, probably 75, 85% HOAs. And if you don't want HOA, it has to be an older neighborhood. It has to be something that, hasn't been built for at least 20 years, because, a lot of them had, an HOA, and they maybe removed it after a while. But yeah, I would say maybe 85% of them are HOA driven here in Las Vegas. So it's really hard to find something that does not have an HOA. So when you find one, and is a neighborhood, understand that also is your responsibility as a homeowner to upkeep your home. So like that, the value of the neighborhood, because I think that's one thing that people don't understand, Yvonne. The HOA is not there to police you. The HOA is there to continue to have appreciation of the neighborhood. You could build your house out of gold, right? And it's going to be the only one there. That's not going to help the neighborhood. But if all the neighborhood looks the same, there's no trash in the streets, there's no overweeds on the properties and everything, the area for that particular neighborhood, is the appreciation is going to go up evenly, unlike having, other areas that you have 3 beautiful houses, and then you have that one that, just it's not being taken care of. And that is the important about an HOA. It's helping to maintain the value of the area, of the community, of the neighborhood, and not specifically in your home, but they do tell you how to keep up your home, right?
Absolutely, you're very right. So talking about HOA, if you think that HOA for condos is too high, you can always look at townhomes. Yes. Right now, they have many communities, brand new communities, 3-bedroom, 2-bath townhome, 2-car garage, beautiful communities. It feels like a home. You just don't have the backyard, but most of them do have a balcony or terrace, and the HOA there is lower, depending on the community, could be around 100 up to 150 maybe. Insurance is included. You do pay your own water, electricity. So yeah, townhomes are a great choice right now, especially for first-time buyers.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. And talking about new communities, new builders, they offer lots of incentives. Just call me, I can tell you all about it. Nice. Great prices, lots of incentives, lower HOA, and it's just beautiful. You don't have to worry about your backyard, watering and taking care of it. So if you want that kind of lifestyle where you simplify your life a little bit, it's called lock and go. A lot of people work from home now, so they can actually lock and go another town and work from anywhere in the world. So it's a lifestyle that people prefer.
Yeah, and that's really important to understand, that there's different communities, there's different styles, like you say. you as a buyer, you just need to know exactly what you want, right? And you need to understand that sometimes you have to sacrifice, right? And I always talk about this and I make it a joke, but in reality, it's not a joke. I'm pretty sure you have somebody, because let's be honest, people outside of Las Vegas, they only know two areas, Summerlin and Henderson. Right? Summerlin and Henderson, because that's what the national news puts out there. Oh my God, Henderson is one of the safest, communities to live in. Summerlin is one of the fastest growing community, blah, blah, blah. But, there's other areas, Aliante here, that is a beautiful area. North Las Vegas has definitely updated and changed and everything. So there's so many other things out there. But you need to understand that sometimes you have to make sacrifice. And like I said, getting back to my joke is that, you get people that said, hey, I have $400,000 to spend and I want a 7-bedroom, 3.5 bath, acre lot with a pool and a slide on the pool in Summerlin, and there's no way you're gonna be able to find that type of home in that price range, because each area is priced differently. How important is for the buyer to really understand that when they sit with you in the first consultation, that you're gonna really go in there and tell them everything starts with the price point. And then from there, we're gonna start looking at the area, because there are some areas that have that type of homes, but they might be a little bit older. You might not have a lot of upgrades. So the mentality of the buyer coming in to purchase is it has to be open, and you need to coach them literally. I mean, I think as a real estate agent, you need to coach them and say, look, I know this is not going to be your, the house that you're looking for, but it's a start. It's getting your foot in the real estate market, because this market is not going to stop. So 2 questions. How do you have the conversation with the buyer to make them understand you have to be open-minded, because maybe what you want is not what you really could get? Please.
Well, that's one question. What was the second question?
The second question was, how are you able to go ahead and have people understand that the area also has a lot of impact on the pricing as well?
Well, I think there is a problem. I have few buyers that have been waiting. They have been waiting for years.
Yes.
They think, oh, right now, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. They didn't want to do it. Then they come to me and they say, and mind you, these are people from outside.
Okay.
From outside Nevada, out of state.
Yeah.
I want a house in Summerlin because my family comes to Las Vegas all the time. So we want to come and stay in our home. It has to have a pool. It has to have 4 bedrooms. And I know this is nothing new to realtors out there.
Right.
But it has to be not more than $400,000. And I said to him, well, we started talking about this property that you wanted to buy about 3 years ago.
Oh.
4 years ago, maybe. Mm-hmm. And now this is what's going on here. You're not going to find anything in Summerlin. And you're right. We can go a little bit north. Lone Mountain is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
We can go even more north, and they're beautiful communities. But no. They want it right here. And they're like, oh, my God, we lost it. We lost the train. Why didn't we do it? They feel bad. So right now, people are waiting because the rates are high and because what's going on in the world. And I understand. It's scary.
Yeah.
Look at we don't need to talk about it. Everybody knows what's going on with the gas prices and everything getting so expensive. But a home is a home. It's your life. It's where you live. It's priceless. I don't want to talk bad about any coffee shop, but people go to Starbucks every day and they spend $15 a day. You do the math. How much is that every day? Sometimes twice a day.
Yep.
And then you don't want to pay for your own home. It's where you live, where you sleep.
Right.
It's very important to always, if you have in mind that, okay, I need to buy my own property, because going back from the beginning where you're talking, I'm paying the rent $2,500 every month. You're paying someone else's mortgage. Why not pay for yourself? Because you think, oh my God, the rates are too high. You heard this, you can refinance later. Of course you can. Or you can sell later. But at least you make that payment for yourself.
Right.
And you just waiting. What are you waiting? What are you waiting for?
See, this is what I told you, that the conversation goes like this. Yvonne, explain to me, because I think a lot of people that are not homeowners, or they haven't been, in the real estate market for a while, they've just been renting, paying. They might not understand the idea of how do you create equity? How do you create value on your home? Because we've been so used to, again, I'm a renter. I've been paying rent for 20 plus years. and I just pay my rent, and I have nothing that I own, to be honest with you. But I don't think people really understand how you build equity, because every time you make a payment, you're actually paying off your mortgage. And I think that doesn't comprehend to a lot of people and saying, well, I have a loan of $500,000. How am I ever going to end up paying that? But little by little, I mean, I always tell people, you know, how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. Right? You eat them one bite at a time. So every time that people make a payment, they don't understand that that is actually helping them build credit. Can you explain that? Well, I know you're not a mortgage broker, but in a real estate factor, like you understand in real estate, how do you explain that to a buyer and saying this is a benefit because you really kind of start creating wealth for you down the road, not right now, down the road? Can you explain that for us, please?
Well, this is the way I see it.
Okay.
You paying rent to yourself, because everybody says, well, especially the first 10 years, when you pay that mortgage, it's mostly you're paying the loan, right? The interest rate. And it's true, but at least you're paying your rent to the bank, and in the end, that property is yours.
Yeah.
When you want to sell it, you don't just move out and get your security deposit back or not. You sell that property, and over the years, the equity goes higher and higher because you're in a city where this city is growing so much. And even in older city, real estate only goes higher and higher and higher in value because it's very simple. Look at where we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Anywhere you look in this country, in the United States, properties go out in value. It's just the way everything goes. So somehow you're getting that money back. But when you pay rent, you never get that money back. You're lucky if you get back your security deposit. So this is just the way I see it. Of course, owning a property is also a mentality maybe you grew up with.
Yes.
It could be your lifestyle. You don't want to worry about anything. You don't want to you don't want to worry about repairs. You just want to pay that rent and be free. Yeah. But if you really think about it, if you want to pay you pay the rent to the bank, and in the end you have something in your hand when you sell, and you get that money and do whatever you want to do with it. You want to reinvest it, you want to buy another property, or just go to the south of France and enjoy your life and spend it, or whatever you want. At least you have something. This is just the way I see it, and not because I'm a realtor. It's just the way I always thought about this, even before I arrived to this country, which, by the way, I just had an anniversary. I'm an immigrant. I'm from Romania, because people see Rodriguez last name, and I forgot to mention I actually speak Romanian. I don't speak Spanish, but Romanian is a Latin language. So if you want to speak Spanish with me, I understand. I speak Romanian, you probably understand. It's very similar. Right. But yeah, just ever since I arrived to this country, my dream was to have my own home. It's also the pride of owning something. It just feels so good. It feels good. It makes you feel good, and like I said, in the end you have something. When you're ready to move on, to move out and sell that property, you will have that equity, because no matter what, I do believe that real estate is the best way to build wealth.
Definitely. And you know, there's one thing that we talk about all the time, and people probably don't understand or grasp it, right? Owning real estate, it really creates generational wealth. And what does that mean? That means that I buy a house with Yvonne. Yvonne comes in, and again, I'm a buyer. I was renting for the last 20 years. I finally decided, I think this is not the way for me to go. I'm going to go to Yvonne. She's been teaching me. She's been educating me. I'm more knowledgeable now, and I'm a savvier buyer to be able to purchase something. And now all of a sudden, I have this house. I've been paying it for 10, 15, 20 years. I finished off paying the home. Well, now my children have a house that it's not, there's no loan on it, right? And that becomes generational wealth. I'm transferring because I have the right, and this is a title class real quick, and I'm in the title guy. I'm the title business. Now all of a sudden, the house that you finished paid off, it could be inherited to your kids. and that property could be inherited to your grandkids. So when you purchase a home, it is a long-term investment, but also you're probably leaving some kind of legacy for your family. How important is for people to understand, especially like immigrants like yourself? You're from Romania, I'm from Guatemala, right? How important is for people to understand that that is the actual buying power, that you're buying a piece of the United States that you could transfer after and after and after within generations with your family? How important is for people to really understand that?
So I agree to that to some extent, because coming from Guatemala, coming from Romania, we are born and live in the same property. We never sell.
100.
We give it to our children.
Yes.
Our children stay with us. Our grandchildren stay with us. So it's a little bit of different mentality.
Yeah.
And yes, my son says, Mom, is this my home? I said, everything I have is yours, my baby. But think about something else. How about we're getting older and it comes the time when we're retiring?
Yes, okay.
Okay, and that Social Security could be $1,500, especially if you have your own business. You don't acquire as much. You have to make a lot of money every year. Again, I'm not a CPA, but everybody knows this. Social Security, right? Let's say you get $5,000 a month Social Security together by yourself or with your spouse. The way everything is getting more and more expensive, that money is nothing. If you do have equity in a house, let's say you have $500,000, let's say you have $1 million equity in your home because you've been paying on it for 30 years or 25 years or whatever, right? Then you can sell that property and take the money and retire somewhere, either in the United States, where it's not as expensive as it is in California, or even here it's getting very expensive.
Yes.
You can move back home in Guatemala. How much money is that? $500,000 in Guatemala, or $1 million, or in Romania, you buy a beautiful property, you buy a beautiful condo or townhome, and you put money in the bank. And this is, so you have to think about retirement too, because everywhere you go right now, everything is so expensive. And I see older people having to work at 70. They have to go work to make more money to survive because everything is so expensive. So yes, of course, it's very nice to think you leave it to your children. And we do, and we can, but before that, let's think about retirement too.
I think that's great, because again, there's a reason why they created a 30-year loan, right? Because back in the 80s, you know, they decided, you know what, a young couple, if they buy their first home by 30 years, by the time they're 60, they're retiring, they should be paying off their home. Right? And they should be able to you know, not have the rent to be an issue. They could go ahead and live off Social Security. But I think we've kind of missed that information, or we kind of like forget that. And, you know, people are like, no, you know, we don't need a house, or you know what? No, I think in the past couple of years, we have scenarios with the increase of the value of the homes have been gone up so high. People are just, you know, refinancing, and then they're starting fresh. So I think that if you have a plan on long wealth, you should stick to the plan and make your payments, pay off your house as quickly as possible, and then you have other options to think about it. And you're right, you know what? Some people do sell their home and they go back to their countries, or so they move somewhere else that is less expensive, you know. But you have that like a piggy bank. You have this bank account in your home, which is your mortgage, right? And you have this equity that's being built there, which is your savings, right? And then you get to decide whatever you want. And that is something that a lot of buyers need to understand as well. Well, you're buying this home, but it's for long term, right? You can't be flipping it every 3 years, and you can't be refinancing every 3 years, because then that doesn't solve the issue. How important is for people to really understand that long term real estate is the key to be happy at the end of the year? Because when you get older, you don't have to pay mortgage anymore.
Absolutely. I believe that very much. And also, again, going back to the price of what people can afford, don't overextend yourself.
Yes.
You don't need to buy $1 million home.
Yes.
Why don't you think this way? Why don't you buy 2 properties for that money? One you live in and one you rent.
Yep.
And again, talk to your CPA. There are ways of, you can write off a lot of money in depreciation. Did you know that, I'll just give you an example. I had something on my social media. You buy a home for $500,000. $100,000 is the land. You don't depreciate the land,
right?
Because land is always going to be there.
Yeah.
But the home, $400,000, you depreciate that over 27 and a half years. So you take $400,000 divided by 27.5 years. You can write off on your taxes every year about $14,000. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I mean, and not only that, when you're renting, JC, you don't get any write-off on the tax for your loan, for the interest, for this, for that, for repairs, for whatever else you do. So when you own or when you have an investment property, as long as it's a rental, you can write off depreciation on that investment property. There is so much more to do, and get creative with your money.
Right.
So this way you have more money to enjoy life.
Correct. 100%. So now, Yvonne, let's talk a little bit about Yvonne, the person who, right?
Okay.
I know you told us you're from Romania. Obviously last name by marriage.
Yes.
But what are your interests? I know you and I were talking about, and you mentioned earlier as we were talking about your social media, that you also are part of a nonprofit. So what are your interests? What is it that you're doing out there for the community outside of real estate? Please.
So it's all about the community. It's all about the people. Like, as you say, we're immigrants. How many of us are immigrants? And even if we're second, third generation, we're all coming from somewhere in this country. And I feel like deep inside, even if we don't always know it or think about it, we have that pride of who we are, where we're coming from, who are our parents, and how much of that culture did we get from our parents or grandparents. Everywhere you go, you're just curious. Oh, where are you from? I'm from here. Where is your family from?
Right.
Oh, well, I'm Hispanic, or I'm European, I'm Romanian, I'm German and English. I'm like, oh my God, who came here? Well, my grandparents came here. Do you speak any German? No, because my mother and father, they spoke, but they never thought. So you lose that, and everybody is looking down, back, and they're like, I wish I did. I wish I did. I wish I knew more about my culture. So GOCA is the Guardians of Culture and Arts Foundation. It's a nonprofit, 501c, and that's what it does. They're helping conserving that culture and bringing it back through arts and music and food.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And dance. Because when you talk about your country, what comes to mind? Music, food, culture, and arts.
Correct.
So we're very passionate about it. We're already 10 board members. We're working very hard. Our first project is going to be about this music that was lost and never heard for 300 years that comes from Peru.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting. It's going to be a big concert in Los Angeles on August 1st. We're planning on doing some trips to Peru, and people don't realize that Peru is a very important. Actually, I think your wife is Peruvian.
Yes, my wife is Peruvian. Yes, we were talking about it, and I said we just came back from a trip to Peru, and my kids are adults, and they were like, oh my goodness, this culture. I mean, you know what, again, because, you grow up in a bubble here in the United States, and I don't, right? You grow up in a bubble, and when you go outside of the United States, I'm sure that your kid, when he goes to Romania, he's like, oh my God, this is so beautiful, right? Because there are other cultures, and they're very important cultures. So yeah, we were talking about how I
just know for myself, when I go back home, and I go every 3-4 years, I arrive in the airport and I just start crying. It's like, oh my God, I've been in this country and I'm so thankful.
Yes.
I mean, the opportunity. Why did I leave Romania? It was communism when I left.
Right.
There's so many opportunities here for us, for our children.
Yes.
We're able to buy a home and sell and retire whatever we want and do it with that money. We can do anything. It's amazing. But when you go back home, it's something there that just comes right back, and it's like, oh my God, it's an amazing feeling. And that's what we're trying to do with GOCA Foundation, and it's just a very, 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 very good feeling to be able to do that and help communities. There are a lot of projects coming up just to help communities here in Las Vegas and internationally to help preserve their culture and bring it out and show it to the world.
No, and I think that's phenomenal because, again, right, and I could totally see you're very passionate about it because it's something that you really believe. And, let's tie that into homeownership, right? you should be proud to be a homeowner. You should be proud to pull into your driveway. And, you know, like you said, that feeling that when you walk into your home, when you walk back into your country, you get that feeling. It's because, you know, the roots that we have as cultures is everything revolves about family and home. That is the biggest thing, right? It's the home. We all go to grandma's house and all the cousins come over, and, you know, it's such a great feeling. So it's really great to see somebody like yourself being so passionate about real estate, but also being passionate about bringing back the culture and having our new generations understand cultures, because it's a lost form. You know, a lot of people have grown here. They don't even speak the language or nothing like that. But when they do get back home, there's something like the roots are just so powerful. They're like, oh, this is cool. My kids were like, hey, can we become Peruvian citizens? We're like, yeah, you could become Peruvian citizens. So it's really wonderful that you provide also that passion to this organization. And how did you stumble into this organization? How did you get started with them? Because I'm pretty sure you all of a sudden, you know, like, oh, I'm going to be a board member of this. You were like, somehow you got started and you really fell in love with it.
Sure, I can talk more about it. I can talk all day about Goka. So my husband and his partner, Bob Golden, they actually, my husband is a post-production sound.
Yeah.
He loves sound. We actually went to Peru 2 years ago, and it was unbelievable. You hear stories about Peru, but you don't really understand. And Peru is not just Machu Picchu, just as Las Vegas is not just a strip.
That's right.
Peru is wonderful. The cathedral, the feel like you practically, there is a lot of European influence, obviously, you know, but I'm just, the food is unbelievable. People, the culture, just the whole, it's just so much to discover in Lima. And then, of course, we went to Cusco, which is up north, and I had to stay in bed with oxygen for 2 days and 2 nights because I couldn't breathe.
Because of the altitude.
Altitude, and the oxygen is, the air is so clean and just up there. But it was amazing, the culture and everything. And I don't even remember, Bugoka. And it just, so we went there, and my husband and his partner are like, and we came across this gentleman that discovered this music, and he wants to bring it to the world because it's been dormant, hidden for 300 years. Right. And they were so passionate about it. And that's where everything came together with me being an immigrant. My husband, he's half Mexican, half Czech. And in the house at the time when he was growing up, they were not allowed to learn Spanish because they were trying to integrate into this society. And now looking back, he's blaming his father. How come you didn't let us? It was different mentality. And at the time, speaking Spanish, she was associated with being a field worker.
Yes.
And they were ashamed because they were coming to this country and trying to make it, but people were looking down at them. But now, many years ahead, he's like, God, you know, it's not fair. I don't want this to happen to other generations.
Beautiful.
Children need to know where they're coming from, and they need to keep their culture growing, because that's what makes this whole world beautiful. We're all different people.
Yep.
We have different skin color, and we speak different language, and we know different food. And it's just, oh my God, my skin just, I'm really proud. I just love it. I think, you know, yes, and the importance of and the pride of being an owner. I believe that we come to this country, and if it's, I'm the first generation immigrant, but our parents, our grandparents, our family, the first ones that arrived to this country, they arrived, and what did they want to do? They wanted to buy land.
That's
and they
right.
wanted to build a home, and they wanted to own something that they call theirs. And I just think it's a beautiful thing, and we cannot let that go. We have to keep that going in honor of our first, you know, great grandparents, whoever came here first in your family.
No, and I think that's phenomenal because, like you said, right, they came in, they understood ownership is the key. Right, you own a piece of the United States. You own a piece out of, you know, countries. I mean, I know a lot of U.S. citizens. They're going to Guatemala and Peru and Costa Rica and going to other countries, and they're buying houses over there because they know that ownership is key. So it's really important for people to understand that the ownership factor is not only, again, for you right now, but you're leaving a legacy. You're showing your kids, your younger kids, hey, anything is possible. You could buy it. Now you're becoming a homeowner, and you're teaching them you should buy a home by the time that you're able to buy it. So it's really important. And I love the passion that you have for the organization because it is a cultural thing. But I have to say it, you're not going to believe this, but the hour is done.
Can we do one more hour? I still have a lot to say, please.
Listen, I would love to have you and come in and do a second episode. How about that?
Absolutely. We'll come back and talk about tips for sellers.
Yes.
How to stage your home and what's important, especially in today's market.
Yes.
What you need to do if you want to sell your property.
Beautiful.
To be continued.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so much fun talking to you.
Thank you. I told you that the hour was going to fly by.
I loved every minute of it.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, but I really appreciate it. So again, if you want to give me your name, your last name, the company you work with, how do people get a hold of you with, either your cell phone number or your social media as well, please. And one last quick tip for our audience.
So again, Yvonne Rodriguez. I'm all over social media at Vegas by Yvonne. We'll have a link for my link tree on the bottom of this, so you can find me everywhere. You can find our organization if you want to get involved in any way possible. And of course, if you want to talk to me about homes, buying or selling or anything like that, you got to know me a little bit. Hopefully, you enjoyed this, and you can get to know me better. And my phone number is 702-885-4400. Find me everywhere on social media, Vegas by Yvonne, YVONNE, Vegas by Yvonne. And a last tip, just enjoy life. Time goes by fast. Do whatever you love. Enjoy life. But think about your future. Think about your children. Think about that pride of who you are, where you're coming from, and what are you here to do and achieve. And what makes you happy. In the end, if you want to rent. If you want to buy. It's up to you. Everybody has different lifestyle, and I understand that, but the advantage of owning a home and the pride and what you can do with it is just unbelievable. And I just think that we're all here to help. If you have any more questions, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
No, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy. I know you're building your team. So again, if anybody out there wants to go ahead and contact Yvonne and saying, hey, I want to learn about how to become a real estate agent, she's more than welcome to go ahead and help you with the process as well. Right, Yvonne?
Absolutely. I would love to. Love to. It's my pleasure to teach and help.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So you're on hook for the next episode. So we're going to, once we're done this, and just so you guys know, we're going to go ahead and book our second appointment so she could come in, and we're going to talk all about the sellers because she has a lot of great tips for the sellers as well. And like I said, the real estate professionals, the real estate people that are here, they come to my, at least to my podcast, they want to make sure that we educate the consumer, that they do the right decisions made. Because right now, a lot of sellers are thinking, oh, my house is worth $1 million, and we have to have a couple of conversations, right, Yvonne? Absolutely.
Let's talk about it, what we can do right now. If you have to sell right now, there are some things that we need to discuss. And let's do it. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Awesome.
Anytime. It's a pleasure.
Beautiful. Well, Yvonne, thank you so much. My name is JC Castillo. I'm here with Equity Title. Again, if you want to go ahead and follow the show, please give us a like. If you don't like it, let us know also why, and we will definitely adjust and shift for you guys. I really appreciate all my guests coming and giving us information, educating our consumers. Like I tell you guys, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, if you guys are looking to buy and sell, not only hire the right real estate agents that come to our show, but also make sure that you understand that you have the right to choose Equity Title if you want. We have great escrow officers throughout the company. We have 3 locations in the city, and I'm here to help as any way that we can. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know, please behave, take care of each other. Let's be nice to each other because it doesn't cost us anything to be nice to each other, but we will definitely set up for the second episode of this. Yvonne, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I will go ahead and see you guys on the next show. See you later.